welcome to another episode of Tribunal of the Grid, where we talk about all things Power Rangers, including the actors that play them. My name is Brandon.
I am Lena.
I'm Will.
And today we have another wonderful episode all planned out for you guys. Not really, well, I can't say not too much has happened, because there's been a pretty good bit of stuff that's happened this week. Don't you guys think? Maybe? Yeah, maybe?
There's some stuff here and there. There's some interesting stuff that's been happening.
Here and there, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's weird because we're in this like weird gray area right now where stuff is happening, but it's like not much is happening, but the things that is happening is kind of like, ooh. It's just kind of like, ooh, okay, all right. So we have some good stuff planned for you guys today. We're going to be talking about some of the stuff that is happening in the Ranger fandom as far as with the comics. We'll be talking about the new wave that may be coming up. And we'll be also talking about Beast Morphers, this most recent episode that just aired. Oh my God, the title escapes me. What is it called? Source Code, right?
Yeah, Source Code.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So yes, we will be talking about that episode today as well. But before we get started, so we did mention a little bit about the comics, right? So Ross Richie, CEO and founder of Boom Studios, had a little bit to say, right? So this is very interesting. So back like at the end of November 29th, right? He had a little bit to say about certain people, coming out the woodworks and wanting to ask for a job, wanting to write for the comics. So he posted a little picture of Mighty Morphin, which is Mighty Morphin Comics that I'm referring to, and captioned it by saying, "You say hire me to write Power Rangers. I say no." Now, basically, the gist of it, I'm pretty sure everybody has seen it, but for those who hasn't, the gist of it is basically it's a conversation piece, right? So allow me to read just a little snippet of it. Hire me to write Power Rangers. You say no, I say. What? You're mean. Why don't you give me a chance? You say. You're being rude to Ryan Parrott, the current writer of Power Rangers and its twin series, Mighty Morphin. He is doing an excellent job, and I can't read today. He is doing an excellent job, and the series is selling record numbers for the franchise, I say. You're saying you want me to fire a writer who is delivering in a big way to hire a complete unknown, I say. But I work for free, you say. I don't want anyone to work for free. Work is work. You should be paid. This is not an inducement, I say. And it goes so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. Now, thoughts from the panel. How do you guys feel about this situation? What are your thoughts?
First off, I thought it was hilarious that he tagged the person that says it. And, I'm obviously sure that this person keeps like messaging him, but that's why he tagged him. But the other thing is, you should take it as a real compliment because he got a reply from the CEO of a company first and foremost.
Facts.
Right? Secondly, the fact that you think you have the experience to write greater and grander things than Ryan Parrott, who actually has experience and gets paid to do what he does, and to top it all off, there's no disrespect to you. But if you want to start something and you want to have your own opinion and your own direction of where you want this comic to go, hello, there's a thing called fan fiction and the interweb. You can design a whole website. You can get yourself technology such as an iPad and design your own comics and your own direction and post this online. I mean, let's be honest here. Why think we're here? We're posting our own opinions. No one can tell us no because we're doing it on our own terms. But for you to reach out to a CEO of a company and beg him for a job and be like, I'm working for free, you know what? The CEO, Richie,
Ross Richie.
Ross Richie, I knew it was like a tongue twister. Like it was like RR. Almost diss him for saying, oh, you chose the wrong person to write for this comic. And disrespecting, obviously, Ryan Parrott for actually doing such an amazing job for this. And to top it all off, if you think you're doing so well, if you think your direction was going to be great, why didn't you apply for the job initially?
When I saw this, I thought that I'm always trying to make sense out of things and and look at things, give people the benefit of the doubt, I guess. Now, did this guy in particular, did he say, hey, Ryan Parrott sucks, I'm better? Or was he just, asking for a job?
Well, he was saying that from what I understood, he was saying that his direction was better and that he thinks that he could do better for the series and for the where it would go and so forth. He never flat out, from what I understood, diss Ryan Parrott, but you are indirectly dissing him by saying, hire me to be the writer of Power Rangers. Hire me to do a better job. I'll do it for free. And by
For
saying
me,
that, it's like saying, because my direction and my thoughts are so great that I'm willing to prove you wrong if you just give me an opportunity. That's what I'm understanding it as.
Yeah, I was I don't know why I didn't think initially, like, you saying that you want a job as a writer on the Power Rangers comics, that means that Ryan would potentially lose a job. I don't know, because I guess I forgot that, like, he solely writes it. So
I was gonna say, like,
I
he
was thinking,
totally
like,
only writes it
maybe.
himself.
And Ross's statement was kind of like a blanket statement for everyone that has been contacting him
Well, for
about
sure.
getting a job. Yeah. So I understand, for the people that, because I think maybe some people aren't thinking like that could potentially mean that you're putting somebody out of a job if you did get that opportunity. And you have people who are absolute rookies who have no experience, like, really writing, or no professional experience, as the person that he tagged in that post. But on the other hand, I was thinking, like, what if there are actual, like, real writers out there that actually want to get an opportunity that are contacting him? He didn't say if that is actually, like, the case or not,
Well,
or
I mean,
somebody that's trying to, like, break in, that's actually like talented. And for that, like, something I was thinking
but,
about is
but the
how
thing is, there's chain of commands, right? Like when you're looking for a job, you don't just go into Starbucks and go, Starbucks, hire me because I can make a better drink than this guy can. Like I'm
yeah.
saying, there's chains of command, like you go, I want a job at Starbucks. All right. You can come in and say, hey, Will, how do I get a job at Starbucks? What do I need to do to see that I have an opportunity to work at Starbucks? You
Mhm.
know, I feel like that would have been a better way of going about it. Yes, there are lots of talented writers and talented people out there, but I just feel like DMing somebody in a manner like that
Mhm.
doesn't sound appropriate or professional to me.
Mhm. I totally get that. I totally get that. In times before, all of the social media stuff, when there were people that thought that they were great for a job, it was something that they really wanted to do, like, they would actually go up to people, like, physically, and say, hey, take a chance on me, you won't regret it. And once again, I'm talking about somebody that actually, like, has the talent and
The qualifications,
the qualifications to actually do it.
right?
In this age, we have the, social media and, like, instant connectivity, where maybe asking for it, shooting your shot in that way, could actually work for you. I guess depending on what you're trying to do.
I mean that's fair, but I just feel like the best approach in my opinion would have maybe try to send an email to the CEO or like something and then
Yeah.
provide it with portfolio and example could be
Actually being professional with it.
exactly be professional because I feel like a DM it can be professional depending on how you go about it, but at the same time overall a DM is a very private inbox situation, like it's very like a direct message. It's very much like a person to person. And a lot of times I feel that if you want a job and you really want to be taken seriously, you would not slide into a DM of a CAO. You just wouldn't. I mean I wouldn't. If I was genuinely serious about being
I would
seriously, I would be like, okay, how do I would try to go through all the sources first, like, email him, send him your portfolio. I would go through all the steps first. And then if you're really that desperate, slide into his DM being like, hey, my name is so-and-so. I have done X, Y, and Z. I hope you've seen my portfolio. I hope you got a chance to take a look at it. That I would have understood if you did that. But to be like, I want you to hire me because I think I'm great for Power Rangers.
I absolutely I get it. Like as far as not taking that avenue, because like you said, there are ways of going about it. There's first and foremost trying to write for like another book to get you some professional experience. Something that I didn't think of before was the fan fiction route or publishing things online. And maybe that way would be a way of getting your work out there so that
Absolutely.
somebody can see that,
Mm-hmm.
that would be, like, oh, wow, this
Yeah,
person actually has some cool ideas. Like, who knows where that
absolutely.
could go? So
Absolutely.
I get it. I get it.
Right? And you're
Like
sharing
I said,
it, you get feedbacks, and that way it's kind of cool because you can critique yourself too.
yeah, because it might not be so great, and then
Mm-hmm.
you could see, what people's opinions of it are, and then you can
Absolutely.
change things accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like for me, I totally get it as far as why this isn't the best look to do. But at the same time, like I was saying before, if anybody actually has the talent and they're just like struggling on getting their foot in the door, I guess I can also understand why they would try just to take a shot at it. But there's better ways of going about it.
And I understand you trying to be devil's advocate, but let me just go ahead and like smash that real fast. Um, what old dude did was just like, it's a no, it's a chop. And here's the tea. And I'm not trying to be like rude or mean or anything like that, but here's how I feel about it, right? Like Lena said, there's more than one way to do this. Now, I heard you said about like the past, like how it used to be where like, the writers would like, send out their stuff or they'll go up to the people and be like, hey, take a chance on me, that kind of thing. You can only do that when you have a resume and a portfolio and bodies of work that you can willingly present them already. You already have to have written something, have already been featured in something. Like you have to, especially something as big as Power Rangers. I mean, think about it. Like you have Ryan Parrott, who has already written for numerous things, including Ultraman, before actually writing for Power Rangers. And he didn't even his body of work is so noticeable and already is known that like they didn't he wasn't even like he didn't even have to apply for it really. Like he basically got in through word of mouth because basically Kyle Higgins already knew him and it was like, oh,
Right.
okay, well, cool. Like, go ahead. I know your body of work. I know how good you are. I'm gonna bring you on. And they liked what he was doing. They liked what he was giving. They liked what he was serving. And it was like, all right, cool, let's do this. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't even have anything under your belt, you know what I'm saying? Like nothing. Like it's just like anything. It's just like any other big job. Like, say, for example, it's like microphysics or something, right? Like, you can't just walk into somebody's company and be like, hey, I have an idea, for, creating this thing or whatever. Take a chance on me. Do you have a degree? No. What? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have, like, you don't have anything to show your worth, and like Lena was saying, it's like, if you are serious about it, do the things that you need to do in order to prepare yourself. Like, you can't walk into somebody's office and not be prepared. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to come up and be like, you already have to have bodies of work. You have to have all this stuff ready and planned so that when it's time, it's like, all right, cool. Here's what I can do. You know? And also too, and I have to say this, and I hope this doesn't come off sounding
I think I
rude or
know exactly
anything,
what you're about to say.
but
I was thinking of it too.
no, I don't. For me, and this is just me, it's lazy to me to slide up in someone's DMs and be like, or slide up on someone's page or whatever and beg for a job. Like, to me, it's extremely lazy. I don't know what what this person's, background is. I don't know if they have, like, a disability or anything like that, or if they're from like another country where they, like, they don't speak English well, or whatever the case may be. I don't know, but at the same time, it's like, and I hate to sound like a ass, but how can you be asking and begging for a job when you can't even spell certain words correctly? Like, literally, he was in the dude's comments, like, begging him, not only begging him for a job, but misspelling words left and right. It's like, come on, bruh. Come on, man. Like, I mean, it's stuff like that that's just kind of like, yo, like, I'm sorry, like,
You gotta come
nobody's
correct,
going to take you
man.
seriously. Exactly. Like, nobody's going to take you seriously. So, at the end of the day, I mean, I applaud him for having the balls, for having the balls to, do that. I really am. I applaud him for doing that. But at the end of the day, it's like, there's a certain amount of professionalism that you have to have. And it goes across the board. It goes, wherever it is, whatever you're trying to do. Like, there's a certain amount of professionalism. Hell, even in the acting world, I can't just roll up in a casting director's office and be like, hey, cast me for this. And when they ask me, like, hey, do you have a reel? Do you have a headshot? No. Have you done anything? No. So what makes you qualify for this job? I'm better than the person on camera that you have right now. What? like, like, that casting director would sit there and look at me and, like, cackle, especially if I'm non-union and this is a SAG, a union thing or whatever. Like, they'll look at me and laugh.
Well, he'll probably wonder how you got through security.
Okay. It's like, how did you even get in here? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's stuff like that. It's like, come on now, prepare yourself. So yeah, that's the way I think. That's the way I think about it. And at the end of the day, I don't think there was anything wrong with what he said. Now, I have seen some people complaining about the language he used and how he did it, and how it was like kind of like almost embarrassing the way, he did it, and how it seemingly maybe embarrassed the guy. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, I can't imagine how many emails he gets from people like that. And he even said it.
Worse.
Yeah, like, he even said it on his post. He was like, even though I posted this, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, I'm going to get 6 more of these. Because and like, basically he got it like that because, like, he was getting those things because, like, it came out that he was looking for more writers. And of course, these writers who are, who they're trying to get the job, they know the proper channels and they know the way to do it. But they're not going to be sliding in his DMs or sliding on his comments like, hey, here I am. Like, they're not going to do that.
Right.
food for thought, guys. If you're serious about this, if you're serious about any business, learn the proper channels and do the things and actually do the things that you actually are trying to do, and like Lena said, if you want, create a fanfic. Like people do those all the time. Like I think it was Misty Flores. She even said, I remember when we because I'm also on No Pink Spandex as well. When we interviewed her on No Pink Spandex, she even said that she's done a lot of fan fictions, and that's how she was able to hone in on her writing skills. And so many others have done the same thing. So it's like, if you're serious about it, create your own stuff. And like Will said, if it's good, or if people feel some type of way about it, or they're try to correct you or try to tell you, hey, this is what this is, automatically it's like, all right, cool, I can check myself, So that's that.
You definitely have to have some sort of some respectable work to show a CEO of a company, because that poor kid, that wasn't it.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect, man, if you're listening, but you have to, if you're gonna try something like that, you really have to make sure that it's professional, because you see the stuff that they released for us, like that wasn't a good look.
No. And I'm pretty sure that 9 times out of 10, I hate to say it like this, but like people who really do be like, oh, I can do better than this, normally like their stuff isn't, it's not good. And actually this thought just came to mind. When it comes to doing anything like that, like generally, to be truthfully honest, I'd rather see someone who has really good writing skills, but is not married to the material, right, for something like this, right, for a franchise like this. Because I feel like someone who is an avid fan and someone who is like, the best, the biggest Power Ranger fan ever, I wouldn't trust them to write something like this, because I feel like their knowledge and their feelings on how certain things should be, because they're a super fan, would get entangled into the things that they're trying to write about. And it'll become way too convoluted in all this fandom stuff that it's like, what about the actual story? You know what I'm saying? Like it won't make too much sense. Because I've seen a lot of fan fiction stuff, and some of it has been good, but a lot of times I feel like the biggest mistake is people would, because they know so much, that's what it becomes about. Only like super fans would be interested in it. But like your average person wouldn't really care. It's like, or would be thrown off by it, because it's like, oh, this is too much. Like, it's too specific. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. Like I'd rather trust somebody that is a good writer, and that could just like how Ryan Parrott had to do. He's a great writer, but he didn't know anything about Power Rangers, like the world of Power Rangers like that. He had to sit down and study it, and he had to create all this stuff from his head, which I think is better than getting somebody who knows all this stuff, because it'll be way too strict. Like it'll be
and conflict of interest. It'll be conflict.
Exactly.
You're gonna want things a certain way, and how you would want things to turn out based on what was already done. But you're absolutely right. With someone who doesn't know anything about it, it's an unbiased writing and unbiased.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying, Lena. Like thank you. That's the word I needed. Unbiased.
No problem.
Yes.
So and that guy, like, and it's just no disrespect to anyone else that has written
but
it.
Yeah, so
it's just not cool. Like, and to agree with you and to piggyback off you, it's not cool. There is definitely a level of professionalism that you have to reach, and come prepare. If you're gonna do something like this, come prepare. come prepared and be like, yes, this is why you should take a chance on me. I can do this, this, and this. And I have numbers that can prove to you that I can be just as good. So if you have a new writing, like, you know, if let's say you have a new comic that you want to start, or that you have something that I would love to jump on this project. I would love to be part of this project, you know? But to be like, oh no, I'll be a great writer and I'll work for free. It's like, I also feel like you're also insulting the people that are already on the project because you're basically
Right.
saying they're not great. Hire me instead.
Right. So yeah.
Sorry, Will.
But yeah, so that's that. I mean, and you know, just to kind of segue, you know, off of, you know, the comics a little bit, we're going to jump into toys a little bit. So,
So exciting.
Will, you posted into the chat, right? Into our little group chat, you know, what could be the new wave 9. Wave 9, right?
I think it's wave 8.
Wave 8 or wave 9? Okay, I'm not sure. There's so many doggone wave. It's 8. Yeah, wave 8. You posted in there wave 8. You know what could be possibly wave 8. What's the T? What we got, Will? What we got?
Well, as usual, there's been some sort of a leak. This is from Toy Wiz, and they have listed SPD Pink, Lost Galaxy Red, Dino Thunder Blue, and I'm so excited for this one. Zeo Green.
While I am excited, right? While I'm excited, I'm also kind of terrified.
Right.
I'm also kind of scared because, you know, we got Adam,
things
right?
are hit or miss.
Right. Like, okay, here's the deal. And tell me if you guys agree with this. This is what I'd rather see. I'd rather see generic faces. I'd rather see a generic Asian face for Adam. And I'd rather see just I'd rather see just generic faces on these people. And them just try to do a hair mold for Sid that's not too ugly and call it a day. Like how they did Astronomer, right? Like kind of like how they did her, where it didn't look nothing like the actual
Melody.
TV show Astronomer. It didn't look nothing like Melody, but it wasn't atrocious. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't look like holy crap, like damn, she's ugly. Like it didn't look like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can agree.
I'd rather see that.
Oh my God, Kimberly was terrible.
Kimberly looked like she would eat your face. And I'm like, no. I'm sorry. No. And like Zach's braids look like his dreads that were matted and were never twisted. Like
matted down, matted down hair.
Seriously, it literally looked like somebody just threw his head into a microwave, melted it for like 10 seconds, and just slapped it on the toy and said, "Here you go. Here's that."
And this dude doesn't. Who is that man? That's not Walter Jones.
That is not Walter Jones. Walter looks just like he did back in the 90s. Like, I mean, the man looks literally the same.
You could literally
like black don't crack literally with him. Seriously,
you could literally scan him now and like it would be an accurate figure.
It would literally be an accurate figure.
Yeah. So I feel the same way. I'm excited. I'm really excited to have Adam. Hearing that Ethan is going to be in the line is that's exciting as well. But it's like, oh God, what is he going to look like? What is his hair going to look like? Right? So that gets me excited about, you know, completing the Dino Thunder team at some point. But then again, God, Connor looks crazy. Well, I'm hoping that'll be the next one, but we'll
Or
see.
what about the Samurai Ranger, Cam?
What about him?
Like, are we gonna get him? Do you think?
Oh, I have no idea. That wasn't one of the ones that was announced here or leaked, I should say. Sid, that'll be interesting to see what they do with her hair. I feel what you're saying about the face just being like a generic pretty face like that. I guess that would be passable. And
No,
then her
seriously.
she had a distinctive like hairstyle with her curls, so ooh, we'll see how that'll look.
That's what
And
I'm
then
saying.
yeah, and then what was the other one? Oh my god, Leo
Leo.
again. So what
Which
the
I
hell?
mean,
Like this is annoying. So it's like I see a 2-pack or a multi-pack. I probably shouldn't buy it because eventually you're going to sell this Ranger by itself. I have the Leo Psycho Red pack, and then they ended up doing the entire Psycho team together. So I'm like, damn, why did I get that? And now Leo's going to be by himself. So that was kind of a waste.
right, right. And that's my argument with the Leo situation. It's like, so why did y'all just have all these people just like buy this 2-pack when clearly you're just gonna go ahead and just make another one anyway? Like you're just gonna do it anyway. That just
Yeah, and
doesn't make sense to me.
this is highly unlikely, but I wonder if they'll give him maybe what like his look in Forever Red and Lightspeed with that 2000s picture. I can't even describe that hairstyle, but you saw a lot of white actors with that hairstyle in
Kind
the
of
early
like giving the Dawson's.
2000s.
You talking about like giving the Dawson's Creek white hairstyle movement?
I don't know about Dawson's Creek. I would say that his initial hairstyle was more like Dawson's Creek, from what I can
You
remember
really think so?
what he looked like. But like his hair looked like Angel had that hair. I can't
He
describe it.
did.
He did. It was hot on Angel, and it was hot on Leo.
So like
Wow.
I strongly doubt that they're going to give us another head for that though. So yeah,
No, they're not. They're probably not going to do that. Like the only thing they might change is the hair. They might.
yeah that's yeah, I doubt it. But I guess we'll see soon.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm. I'm just really nervous. I
Can
guess
we
you guys
just
can hear about my voice. I'm
yeah,
nervous.
and for a second, can we talk about when we first got a preview of the first Lightning Collection figure, Tommy, the White Ranger, and how awesome that looked and how good of a
Mm-hmm.
figure that is actually. And then
Mm-hmm.
after that, once again, it has been hit or miss. Either it'll look like the Ranger, or it might look similar, or it might not look like it at all. The helmet might not be painted right, like Jason and like Trent. There might not be it might be painted wrong, like was it Chase's Morphers painted wrong, the Omega Ranger, like there's that V on his chest is too thick. God, there's the Tommy with the no diamonds underneath the
Yeah, underneath
shield.
the shield.
It's like there's so many like discrepancies, and it's like damn, like this is supposed to be like a special line. This is like your premiere line, and you're not giving it like 100%, and that's disconcerting. That's I don't get it.
It's like you're you're trying to do the things but you're not doing it. Like
Yeah.
it's like, what are you doing? I mean, and it's funny that you brought that up because I remember how beautiful the White Ranger figure was. And I'm not even a White Ranger fan. And I was like, I kind of want to cop that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But and I was thinking, like, well, damn, like, are the rest of the figures gonna be like this? But then it's like you said, it's been hit or miss. And I'm just like, I'm not here for none of these, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, seriously, I haven't bought like not one of the Lightning Collection figures because I'm just like, for one, for the ones that we might get, that I'm praying that we do get, so far, I'm not excited about the ones that we've gotten. So with the ones that we may get, I'm like, like, I don't know if I actually want this. And to be truthfully honest, with some of the figures, I'm not gonna lie. Some of the figures I actually like some of the changes that they made, like with Dino Thunder Red, his visor being silver instead of white. I kind of like that change. Or the change with Ashley's V collar being gold instead of orange. I kind of like that change. However, it's like, how are you gonna turn around and do Andros's and make his like the golden orange? So now you have Andros with the correct golden orange V thing on his around his neck, on his chest, and you got Ashley's with gold. That doesn't make sense. So if you have like a whole line of these figures, it's not going to look right. And then you also have like, what if they end up doing, Ethan, and he has white going across his, but you had, silver going across Connor's. Like that's the kind of stuff that I'm just kind of like, all right, if we're gonna do this, uniformity is the key word here. Like, if we're not gonna be correct, be wrong and make it uniformed. But that's all I'm gonna say on that. Like, this is just weird. Like, I'm really concerned about this Lightning Collection. I'm very concerned. But yeah, so there is that, and there has been some little nuggets, some little news popping up, on the interwebs. Just randomness. Now, first, to cover some of the randomness that has been going on here, Campbell Cooley, the voice of Scrozzle, actually, when the episode Source Code had premiered, he basically came out with a tweet basically saying, now that Evox's big secret is out, I have the pleasure of revealing that I directed the voice work for Source Code. I am truly grateful to have been able to contribute to such a significant moment in Ranger history. And also Melissa Flores also talked about the episode as well, basically saying, big props to the Power Rangers cast, crew, and team for pulling off such a fun twist. This has always been my favorite episode for the series, honestly. Now, someone else had something to say about it too. Amit Bahmik, and I hope I did not mispronounce that name, and if I did, I deeply apologize. He had something to say about it too. So somebody tweeted him basically saying, sorry to bother you. I'm just curious on your thoughts about Evox being Venjix, since it was your original pitch for Go Busters' adaptation before you left Saban. He replied, I wondered if this is why when I ran into anybody who worked on Beast Morphers at Power Morphicon, they looked like they shit themselves. Now,
best response ever.
Now, here's my tea, right? Here's my tea. Now, is it me? Because I had to get high, 3 pitches higher for this one. Is it me, or now I understand? Now, if he did do this, and I'm not saying that he didn't, because I'm not gonna lie, admit that this. He does have some good ideas. I mean, Forever Red will always be legendary in everybody's eyes, right? But, and I understand that, he may have brought this idea up. But my thing is this. It's kind of common sense. It's like, if you looked at Go Busters and you looked at the theme, like the Japanese theme, literally Go Busters was literally the Japanese version of RPM. Like it literally was. Like it literally was the Japanese version of RPM. So it would have made sense that if Go Busters was adapted, that they literally made Venjix Evox. Like that would have literally made it. That would have made perfect sense. So I mean, with him being like, you know, ooh, look at me, look at me, look at me. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that's a
I
little too
mean, you want to,
braggadocious for me.
but do you want to give them enough credit for actually thinking to do something like that if they didn't have any sort of like push in that direction? You really think they would have done that?
I mean, to be truthfully honest, I honestly, based on just, I'm not going to say that they didn't, because of course we don't know what goes on in these, you know, behind the scenes and in these boardrooms and stuff. We don't know. But I feel like ever since Go Busters even came out, it's always been on the interwebs, on Al Gore's internet. People always been like, you know, they always been like, oh my God, if you do Go Busters, if Go Busters ever come to the United States, Vengeance has to be the bad guy. Like it would make sense to make Vengeance the bad guy. So I mean, it's been something that's always been on the internet. It's been on there forever.
For anybody that was following
Exactly.
that makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. I feel like nowadays though too, because there's nothing going on, that people want to start up like, I don't know, start up shit, I guess, essentially. Start up shit to get things going, get people riled up, and to sort of like, yeah, it was my idea. I personally did not know this, and I'm glad that you actually know this and that you followed the Japanese series, because I didn't know this. So now that you're telling us this, I'm like, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. So really, it wasn't his original thought that he got all by his lonesome self over a beer at a bar one day. You know, it was something that he obviously seen and was like, oh, I think that would be a great idea to adapt because it just makes sense.
I'm gonna say like exactly, and that's how I feel. I mean, I'm not saying that that's what happened, but I kind of feel like that's how it feels to me, because like when Go Busters premiered, you know, all those years ago, it premiered after Go Kaiju, what we know as Super Mega Force. Go Busters was the follow-up season to that, and I even remember seeing Go Busters and being like, "Oh my God, the Messiah looks just like Venjix." Because the Messiah was literally a computer virus. Like he was literally like an actual virus. Like the Baglass group that was attacking the Go Busters was a computer virus team. Like they were all like just pockets of data trying to like, you know, hack and destroy the world. Yeah.
They were. I remember when for the first few episodes I did see, I never got a chance to finish it, but I will have to do that. I remember I may have actually communicate this with you guys through our chat where I said, I feel like this is very RPM somehow. And you never revealed then what the real big grand plan was. I guess you didn't know either. Like you know what the adaptation was gonna look like. But I remember having that conversation with you and you're like, yeah, it really is. And lo and behold, I mean, I guess the grand plan has now been revealed, and kind of mind blowing that Venjix actually lived all this time. And kind of cool that I guess for myself personally, for some strange reason when Beast Morpher came out, I've always had this feeling somehow the RPM is heavily connected, just heavily connected. And I'm glad that, again, I know this has nothing to do with me knowing the Japanese series. I actually don't know the Japanese series. This is just me with wishful thinking, and I guess somehow it worked out well, and it is.
And I mean, literally, like I just always felt like Go Busters was the answer to RPM. Like it was literally like the like Go Busters, the way it ended like a to be continued, and Beast Morphers is that like that final, you know, that final piece to the puzzle to conclude the story. Like that's what I feel like it is. And I mean, honestly, yeah, like I mean, honestly, you can tell even in the casting, like the actual cast themselves kind of favored like the original, like the main three, they favor, with the exception of Blue, they favor the RPM cast.
I thought that when I saw the casting originally too. Yeah.
Oh
yeah, like they favor the cast.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so
Like, are you talking about like?
if Blaze would have been blue, then that would have been like,
Were you okay? You're talking about like the American. Okay, yeah. No, I totally see that actually.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy moly, I didn't make that connection. Whoa.
if Blaze
Yeah.
would have been
Yeah.
blue, that would have been
So
a
that's why.
totally like so blatant.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I did
That's
not
why I'm
know.
like, come on now. Like that. Mm-hmm.
So
That's
mindful
why I'm
right
like, come
now.
on now. Like it just kind of blows my mind that I just kind of feel like Amit is taking all this credit for it, and it's like, bruh, but fandom. If you know the Japanese version, we've all kind of no. I just find it weird that like he's trying to take credit for this, and it's like we've known this. Like every fan, like if you watch the Japanese version, that was the first thing that popped into like everybody's head was just like, oh, this is RPM. Like this is literally RPM. If the show ever comes to the United States, this is RPM. You know, so it's just like I don't know, I don't know. It just kind of feels weird that he's just trying to take all the credit for this, and it's just like he's just like, yeah, this is all mine. And it's like, is it really?
I was thinking like isn't that kind of the nature of the business? Like if you I don't know if anybody can like patent an idea for an existing series, but like if what he's saying is true, it's like that is just something that could happen. Like your idea, like you could give an idea and they might like it, but they might not use you to write it. They might just, take it and give it to somebody else.
I mean, that's happened millions of times.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's show business. Yeah, like that's just show business the way stuff like that
Mm,
happens. And is it right? No. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, stuff like that happens all the time.
mhm,
Like it literally happens all the time.
mhm,
So, even if that was his idea, which like I said, I'm not taking nothing from him, but even if that was his idea, it's like, bruh, like you're just basically, just you're basically saying what fans have been saying the entire time. So it's just like, I mean, come on, dude. But that's just me. But yeah, so speaking of this episode of not this episode, but just speaking of Power Rangers Beast Morphers, we will actually be discussing source code. Now,
Yeah.
this is the penultimate, right?
Yes,
Mm.
yes. Now, this episode is, first of all, thoughts from the panel. Because y'all, oh my God.
Oh my God. I was shocked at how good it was. I was not expecting that. Like, wow.
I agree.
Yeah.
I was very I was it's funny when I didn't expect anyone to make a cameo until it was always all like we need to make an interdimensional call. I was like, "Oh my god. Dr. K's coming back. This is a scene that we've all been waiting for." And actually no one expected this either cuz like I think there was another scene that she came back for, but she was on the internet. She wasn't like communicating with them in person. I haven't seen that episode myself, but I am blown away, just like you said, by how well it was done. I felt like it should have been a slightly longer episode, though. I wish it was like a bit longer, like maybe another 15 minutes, like have it like as a special leading up to, the end. And in a way, it's almost like we're getting what we used to get back in, like with In Space and Turbo, where the danger is real. You felt it. And and it was genuine where you're like, oh my god, they're gonna survive. Like, are they gonna make it? But what I will say though, I'm surprised by how coolly calm Dr. K is. Like, just I know she's always been collectively calm, but she's like extra calm in this episode.
I noticed that too. Like she's grown up now.
I
Yeah.
know. And she got taller. Isn't it? Did she look taller?
I don't know about
I
I
mean,
don't know about
don't get me
that.
wrong. She's always been that height, but I felt like they really made her look taller. Does that make sense? Like I'm
Could
sure
it be because this cast is short?
I was gonna say maybe Nate is just really short.
I'm you could be right, or maybe they wanted to make her look grown because, like, do you remember the computer she used to work on? It used to be like superly duperly high, and everyone around her, even Summer, she's not that tall in real life, and she even looked taller than Dr. K does. And in the
Could have been
outfit,
wearing lifts.
well, yeah, that's true. I don't know, maybe the outfit too, because obviously outfit does everything, right? It looks like they shortened her outfit, they shortened her dress, they shortened her lab coat, they obviously
I,
fixed the bob.
I'm surprised she had pants on.
I was too.
In
That's what,
particular, they were like, were they capris? I saw the
right.
Yeah, they were
image.
capris. Yeah.
I was
See, that's what
surprised
I
at
mean.
that.
That's what I mean. I felt like they chose an outfit that angle, like that elevated her look, that made her look taller. You know what I'm talking about, right, Brandon? Like, you know how like there's certain outfits that just makes you
No, I know
look
what you
tall?
mean.
Yeah, it's like she
Hmm.
looked taller. And I know you're right. The cast could be short, but I know RPM, like, they weren't entirely tall either. Like, we met, the only person that was actually tall was freaking Dylan. Everyone else was like bloody our height. Okay, mate, Eka was pretty
Because
tall too. But
yeah, I
like,
thought he was pretty
no,
tall.
he is pretty tall. I just remember that now. But like Brandon can vouch for me. Like, we met Ari, and he was pretty short. He was about our height. Well, my height more so, like in between us. And we met Milo. He wasn't that crazy tall either. And
I was wondering about how tall he
yeah,
was.
he's not crazy tall either. Who else? Like, I don't know, majority of the cast wasn't crazy tall. And I mean, the only two tallest people were Scott and Dylan, and that was about it.
Mhm.
So I just
Mhm.
felt like overall they really made her look shorter in RPM, and even with the computer system that she was working on, they were like overly big in comparison to her,
Mhm.
right? I guess again, like, they try to make her look smaller. I don't know, in some weird odd way, but no, she looked grown, and her bob like was
It
snatched,
looks
as
so
Brandon
much
says.
better than
It
It
the
looks
does
so
other
much
one.
better.
so
Which
much.
once again it makes sense because she's grown up now.
But
Right. Right.
it's
You
so
know.
cool how they did that. Like, I don't know.
I know
I'm
it
just
like legit is because like I kept thinking was like, wow, they're 10 years later, they're actually giving us like an answer to that finale. And we're actually
well,
getting
did
to
they
see,
though?
well, it looks like it. We found out what happened, what was going on in that morpher, and it was Venjix in the morpher. And
Oh,
we're
right,
actually,
right, right.
yeah, yeah.
No,
So
I
we're
thought you meant
actually,
with the cast.
oh, I can talk about that later. But
Yeah, we can get on that in a bit because I
but
got some stuff to say about that.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
yeah.
but it was like, oh man, like I've been wanting like something proper with RPM for so long, and they gave us that thing on Samurai that was, or Super Samurai, that was not that wasn't filling, you know,
No,
at all.
No.
no, because
So this
we
felt
understood that they
better.
were no longer Rangers per se.
Hmm. Yeah,
Well,
this just felt better. It felt like they put some effort and thought into this.
Hmm.
And that is just, I like, that's just something you don't expect these days. Like going back to the first episode of Beast Morphers and how good that was. Like if I hadn't seen anything in between, I definitely would have been like, "Oh wow, this was a good ass season." But like given some of the stuff that we've gotten in between, it's like, wow, this is a surprise.
no, seriously, and that's where I've come from with it. It's just like with this particular episode, it was just like, and actually, someone actually wrote on our comment on our comment thread on our page about it. He kind of said basically exactly how I've been feeling about it the entire time. Basically saying that, if had the show been, good the entire time, it would have had a bigger impact.
Mm.
And I agree with that. Granted, I still enjoyed I still enjoyed the reveal tremendously. I mean, I enjoyed it. I loved it. And I mean, I kind of already guessed it anyway. Just by the seeds that they were planting, especially, for the past couple of episodes before this one. I was already kind of seeing, something was kind of weird with like the verbiage that Vengeance would use. It was just like, something's not quite right. And that's when I kind of like put two and two together. But like, I really enjoyed it. And I don't know, like, there's just so much about it that I just can't wait to talk about. Like, it's just, let's just go ahead and get on into it, right?
Mhm.
So, they start out with the whole, the not preview, but just like, telling us what happened on the previous episode and how Blaze tricked them into letting Evox into their domain.
That
And then
was
it's like,
awesome, by the way. I
oh,
didn't
it was
see the
dope.
last episode. Wow, I was shocked.
Like that whole episode, first of all, just to kind of, give you a little refresher, right? So basically, Blaze went to a martial arts tournament. Well, he was supposed to go to a martial arts tournament. The actual real Blaze did go, but Cyber Blaze tricked them into making them believe that it was actually him. He basically is like, hey, this is what this is. I feel like we need to do this plan. And everybody was like, yeah, this sounds like a good plan. And I want to say it was Cruz. Cruz was just kind of like, I don't know. He was a little skeptical, and so was a few others. A few others were skeptical as well too, but they just kind of went along with it. They trapped Evox in their base, and then I want to say Devin gets a phone call from Blaze being like, "Hey guys, konnichiwa, I'm in Japan."
Oh, okay.
And they turn around, they're like, "Wait, if you're here, who are you?" And like that's when they realized it was Blaze, and Blaze was like, "Haha, gotcha," and he left.
Wow.
And so basically, they realized they got played. So it starts out with this episode. They're like, well, we gotta, go ahead and scramble up, Evox's, his data, and we have this whole little data packet situation going on, this so that we can go ahead and, tear him apart, shoot him up, and blast him into bits. Well, of course, that didn't go as planned. Now, granted, the plan sounded like it made perfect sense, right? I mean, it made perfect sense. My thing is this, and I know they were doing it for dramatic purposes, but in the real world, you would not just shoot one blast and stand there and be like, all right, Commander, tell me when I should shoot next. Like, you're not going to do that. You're going to shoot and keep loading it up and shooting. Load it up, shoot, load it up, shoot. Like, what are you doing?
I didn't like that the gun had to continually be loaded. Like if he could have just kept shooting, that would have worked better.
I mean, even then, I still feel like even since it had to still be loaded, my thing is this: it's like he shouldn't have to wait on the commander to tell him to shoot.
I didn't
It's
even
like,
notice
what are
that. I
you
didn't notice that.
doing? Yeah, like he was just like every time he would shoot, he'd stand there, and then the commander was like, "Fire," and then he have to reload again. He's like, "Okay, charging," and it's like, dude. Just charge the damn thing. Like, what are you doing?
Commander Shaw was cracking me up because there were all these moments where people were like either waiting around or I guess asking for approval, and she's like, "What the hell are you waiting on? Go!"
Right.
That happened a couple of times.
That happened a couple times. And I loved it because she was me. Like I felt seen in this episode. I'm like, yo, like hurry up. What are you doing? Like, oh my God. I'm just sitting here like, my guy, what are you doing? So then, of course, she's like, they're doing their thing or whatever. And Evox basically runs what looks like an Ethernet cord into the computer and transmits himself into a piece of himself into the computer, basically shutting it down and creating the barrier back up so that they can't attack him anymore. So then, this starts the wild goose chase that I actually enjoyed this. I enjoyed this a lot, even though there was certain parts about it that I was just like, okay, now. But I still enjoyed it. Like, for example, they'd run in, they see Evox, they shoot him, and then it was almost kind of like a game of like, what's the game where you like shoot the ducks? Like the ducks will come like flying by the screen, and then you take a little gun and you shoot it. I
I don't know
forget
what
that
that's
little
called, but
game.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. It was on Nintendo. And like you would like, if anybody knows that game, please tell me. But anyway, but yeah, like I kind of felt like it was like that. Like, he would run to a different spot and then they'll be like, oh, he's over here. And they go run over there and then they catch him and they shoot him. And then he like, and then he disappear. And then
That was
they
so
have to run to the next
satisfying.
place. It was so good. I enjoyed that so much. I loved it. The only part that I hated, and this is where I was like, are you fucking kidding me? The part where they get to his lab and he's already taken out the cell shift morpher and they're just standing there looking at him. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you just standing there staring at him as he takes out the morph? What are you doing? Like, that was literally, this episode should have been called What Are You Doing? Because I must have asked that question like a good 10 times. Like, what are you doing? And they just standing there looking at him like, oh, it looks like he's taking the cell shift morpher. What is he doing with the cell shift morpher? Oh, wow. What is he doing? And it's like, are you going to shoot him or not?
All right.
Like, seriously, I'm just sitting there like, what are you doing? And then finally,
so long.
He so long. And finally, by the time they were able to shoot him, he had already regenerated himself. And he's like, up, gotcha, bitch. Nope, you can't shoot me this time. And it's like, and then that's when he revealed the big news that Evox is indeed Vengeance. Nate's face. Crazy. His face. I was like, the world.
Right.
Ooh, burn.
And I love that they showed how it happened. They showed a kid, Nate, mixing the Morph X and the snake DNA and putting them into Scott's morpher that had Vengeance inside of it in the finale of RPM. Like they really, they even showed they had even shown a flashback to the finale and showing that Vengeance was in the morpher. So they for the people that maybe didn't watch RPM or weren't born yet, that was their way of explaining it.
True. I mean, I genuinely enjoyed that. That was great. I was like, wow, that was dope. And then of course, he's like, you can't hurt me now. And then, he blasts them. They all go flying out the lab. He walks out. Now, I'm not gonna lie. This Ben and Betty moment when they were like, you can't get past us. We're gonna stop you. And he's like, yeah, okay. And the next time we see them, they're all tied up. I thought that was funny. I was like, poor guys.
I did thought he was going to do something way worse. Like, I'm surprised for someone as evil as he is. He didn't do something way worse. Obviously, I know it's a kids show and it's not supposed to be like that. But I genuinely thought he was going to do something way worse than tying them up.
I love the fact that they stood up and they stood their ground trying to protect their base.
It was cute. I liked it. I give him kudos.
It really was.
Like, it was a ballsy move. Like, I'm sorry, if that was me, the first thing I'm doing is going the exact opposite direction where this guy's coming. Because
Okay.
you have to remember, if you learn this in history, in Ranger history class, like this guy is the evilest of all evil. And he's the strongest of all strong villain, or whatever you want to call it. Like, I'm genuinely scared of Vengeance. I remember watching RPN and legit thinking, I would never want that to happen to our world because that would be very dangerous. We would not be able to own technology ever again. We would have to literally live in a dome so that the satellite dish can't come through, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. He's just very scary. He's literally like those I know those horror movies where those ghosty spirits will travel to find you, but they can only travel through mirrors. So any reflection, you'll find this evil spirit at your door. And that's what I feel like. It's like a movie of mirrors or something where if there's a reflection, you'll find it. Or it'll find you, I should say. And that's what I feel about Vengeance, where if there's a connection, you're doomed. You're doomed.
Basically.
Like
Basically. That I don't know, like that just it like I just love the character Vengeance so much. Like I just feel like that's the character that it was like, if you're gonna bring anybody back, you bring him back. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the one you bring back. And I feel like they handled it so well. I mean, they really did. They handled it so well. And oh gosh, like I just love it. And then of course, you know, they try to fight him. Vengeance basically hands them their asses and is like he shoots Nate and he's like he was like, you know, how does it feel to be responsible for your own world's destruction?
And
then
how
he leaves.
real quick, how cool was it that they actually used Vengeance's voice?
Yeah, they
did not
brought back
expect that.
Mason F. and Truman.
Oh my god, that I didn't know that he voiced Vengeance. What?
Are you serious? You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, he voiced
Holy
Vengeance.
crap.
wow.
Yes, honey.
Damn.
Yes.
They
yes.
did shit right this time.
Yes. No, wait. Yes. Yes.
Because like
I wanna say, yeah.
they didn't try to bring somebody else back to try to mimic his voice. They actually like legit was like, yeah, we're gonna get the real dude back.
Exactly. Exactly. I was like, bring back James Galen. You are amazing, sir. Yes, sir. I said, oh shoot now. So yeah, like I am like I said, they really did the damn thing this time around. Like they really did.
Andrew Lang?
The Vengeance Virus, Andrew Lang. Let me see. Yeah, I think you're right. Let me see. Or I don't know whether he was like the voice or whether he just did. Oh yes, yes, yeah, he was the voice.
And he does Evox's voice. Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
I'm sorry, everybody. I had that backwards. But yes, I thought I was gonna say I thought it was Mason F. and Truman. But then again, I'm like, it's not, but it's okay because I mean, shoot, he done popped up in this fandom plenty of times. So I mean,
this is nuts.
Of course.
That's crazy. So it was literally, that's so crazy. That's literally the guy that did Evox all season also did Vengeance in RPM in this episode. Wow, I didn't know that. That's so cool.
It's crazy, right? And also too, I think if I'm not mistaken, Andrew Lang, or however you pronounce his name, it looks like what is it called, an anagram or whatever? Because it looks like his name is scrambled. Because if you look at Random Ewing, it's literally his name, but just the letters are scrambled.
What do you mean? I'm sorry.
Okay, look at his name, Andrew Liang, or however you pronounce it, right?
Lying.
Look at the name Randall Ewing. It's literally Andrew Lang, but the letters are scrambled.
Wow. Okay, I got you. What in the world?
So that's
Maybe
how
he did
come
that
we
on
didn't
purpose?
know. I think they did that on purpose. I think they did that on purpose. Because I'm pretty
That's
sure somebody
creative.
would have figured it out and been like, hey, that's the guy who voiced Venjix.
Venjix.
Is Venjix E-Box?
That's nuts.
That's smart.
Wow.
Wow. See, we learning new things every day. Wow, that is dope. That's insane. But yeah, so he uses his regular voice, his he puts on his Venjix voice for the kids. And basically, he tells Nate, you are the one who are bringing about the destruction of your own planet. So toodles. And then he disappears. Nate is sitting at the the base, all sad and feeling sorry for himself, as he should, because I mean he's the one who's gonna destroy the world.
Ah,
But it's not like
that's
he knew.
so
Like
harsh. He was a little kid. He
I
didn't
know.
know.
I was just about to say it's not like he knew. I know. It was just very
Even
annoying.
even if
Like,
he wasn't a kid, like who would have known that Vengeance was in that morpher?
well, that's just it, right? And I just found it very annoying where he was all like self-pity. He's like, no, I'm sorry, Nate. Stop having a stupid self-pity shit while this Vengeance dude is literally gonna destroy your world. Like, fix it. What is the problem?
I felt that way too. I understood him being upset, but it's like, dude, you're being too hard on yourself. And there's way too much going on right now for you to stay in this depressive funk. You gotta like get it together because you're needed.
Now, here's my thing, right? There's two things to this. One, I agree 100%, and that's how I was. I was like, all right, dude, you got to get yourself together, right? But there's two sides to this. There's two things. For one, we have to remember Nate is I feel like Nate is probably the youngest member on his team. I feel like
Yeah.
he's a teenager, but he's still pretty young.
Mhm.
So like he's probably not in the probably doesn't have a developed mindset. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to
Mhm.
the idea of like, oh man, I destroyed the world. Like, what do I do? Like he's gonna take it hard because you know, he's not like mentally, he's not,
Mature.
mature enough. Exactly. Thank you. Words are hard tonight. Um, he's not he's not mentally, mature enough to handle that. There's that. And the other question that I had that really bothered me with this whole episode, where the devil did they get all this Ranger gear from? Especially for the simple fact that the cell shift morphers, not even cell shift morpher, the RPM gear isn't even in this dimension. How the devil did they acquire it?
Right.
They never explained that.
You know, I was
and
the exact same thing because I thought that the original Rangers had their morphers because when they left in the last episode, they never specified. Did they actually give it up?
they gave
Yeah,
their
they gave up their
morphers up.
powers. Yeah.
Oh,
They
they gave
put them in
power.
that same box that we saw all the morphers in this episode.
Wait a second. If they gave up their powers, how did the Red Ranger appear in Power Rangers Super Samurai?
See, I never thought of that either. Wow.
What?
That's a very good question.
What? So I'm confuzzled right now. So
Yeah.
not only do they not have their powers, these morphers randomly show up in this dimension, and Dr. K never thought to question why he even had her morphers. Because remember, she was very like, these are my babies. These are her project. She was very adamant on keeping them safe.
Maybe the episode's been retconned.
And also too, well, maybe there's a simple explanation for this, right? Maybe at that time, Scott could have.
Wait. How did
What?
How did Mike appear in the reunion episode in Power Rangers? Was that Steel? What was that? Ninja Steel.
Mike?
Was it Mike?
No, it was Gemma. She's
Gemma,
talking
how
about
did she
Oh,
appear?
Gemma, yeah.
How did she appear? They didn't have their morphers either.
And the morpher was in there. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm mind blown right now. What the actual app?
And yeah, Brandon, I thought that you were about to say there's a simple explanation for that, and then just go on to another topic.
Like,
That's literally what I was gonna do. Literally what I was gonna do. That's literally what I was gonna do. Like, there's a simple explanation for that.
So another thing for me, something else that they keep mentioning but not showing is Ranger history class. Like,
Right.
I want to know what they're learning. Like, that would have been a great way of showing old clips and reminding us of things throughout the season, and seeing the Rangers actually get smartened up on things, and maybe we could have learned in that also where they got some of the morphers from, what's going on some of the different Earths outside of this main timeline, what's going on with Rangers that are on this Earth right now,
like, obviously they learned nothing because when they were holding the gun at Vintage, they decided not to shoot at him.
That's literally what I was saying the entire time at the end of this episode when Doc K was basically like, I have to go back to my world and scan just in case that, the Vengeance virus is in our world again. My thing is this. I'm like, well, can we get an update on everybody else though? I mean, can you at least say, hello, my team says hi, something like, well, don't do that. Please don't do that. But something like,
well,
obviously her team doesn't exist because, what's his face? Nate has their morphers.
I mean, they exist. They're just not Rangers anymore. We can assume something. Something that you mentioned in the group chat, Lena. I think you mentioned something like the no updates on the Rangers, or they must think that nobody cares. Or I guess no, Brandon, you said I guess they think that nobody cares. But it's like, damn, you put all this effort in and you can't give us that little bit.
Right? No, so yeah, I was annoyed with the fact that they didn't give us a brief update. And Brendan said, well, they probably assume that nobody wants it. And I was like, well, if they bring any cameo back, I expect at least a 1 minute brief on where the heck they are and who they are and where they are now. That's all I want.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And that's my thing. It's like, and this all goes back to just how Power Rangers is constructed and how it's being done. I just kind of feel like the show itself just doesn't, like, it has all this good stuff. I mean, we have 28 years of just morphing goodness. Like, we just have so much information that we can go back to at any time. And it's like every time we have that chance to go back to it, it's like, oh, nope. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, we're just gonna exactly, either it's half-assed or it's like, oh, we're just gonna, create something brand new. And it's like, well, you have something already that you can go back to. You know what I'm saying? So it's this weird thing of just like, and then they want to try to like make the worlds connect. But it's like, how can you make the worlds connect when you're not going to spend the time to actually explain what makes the worlds connect in the first place? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, hell, we still got the power eggs that they haven't even explained in like 28 years. Right. I want to know what the hell the power eggs are. Like, I mean, they're just floating down the river somewhere, and it's like, okay, well, what happened to them? We don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, it's stuff like that.
For the people listening that might not remember, that's something from way back in the first season that they never resolved.
Like, this is I want to say that the power eggs is in, what's that episode? Sisters, the something sisters, Big Sisters. I want to say that's in that episode, Big Sisters. Right. But yeah, so, and that's Mind Warfare season 1 for anybody who wants to know. But I mean, if they really wanted to be, smart about it, I would suggest they actually, use the power eggs to give the Dino Fury Rangers their powers. But they're not gonna do that. So I mean, it's stuff like that, man. It's just like, come on. Like, you have a wealth of stuff that you could pull from and then explain what this stuff is. And then it's
And
like, no, we're not.
and they pretty much did something like that with this episode, but they just didn't give us, like we're saying, they just didn't give us that extra bit of explanation as to why these things are happening or what's happening.
Exactly. And like I said in the group chat, I just feel like they're doing that because they don't feel like people are invested enough in that. Like, or either it's that, or they don't, or they put so much, they want to have so much fight scene that it's like, they're like, okay, we need time for this fight. We need time for this Megazord battle. There wasn't a Megazord battle in this, but
I
we
love
need
that.
time for the Megazord battle. We need time for the fight. We need time for all of that. So everything else we don't have time for. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if you lessen the actual fight and give me more explanation, I'd love that more.
Mhm.
To be honest, like,
And
I'd actually, me
yeah,
personally, I'd like that more.
yeah, and it's like you just said, like I was saying, if you don't if you don't think that I guess the demographic will really grasp or understand or care about certain nuances and certain information, then why make an episode that's so heavily based in with the continuity of the series, with the history of the series?
Exactly.
So it's like,
Exactly.
damn, you might as well give that little extra nugget. Uh, Um,
Exactly.
it was oh man, it was rough watching this because I was having such a good time. I was really appreciating them diving into Ranger history, the continuity meaning something. It was so difficult that the Rangers weren't there. The Ranger series operators, we didn't get to see any of them. Like, even if we got to just see like one or two, that would have been so. I mean, like, shit, I would have took one just to see them and just get some sort of an update on how they are. And then, like, they could mention the other Rangers to see, just to
Right.
give us a little update on what they were doing. I was thinking like the most obvious candidate probably would have been Ziggy, since him and Dr. K, they had a moment at the end of the series where it looked like they were going to be like together or
Together.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
would have, yeah, like, I would have enjoyed that. I would have enjoyed, yeah, I would have. They could have brought back Gemma again. They could have, and they even could have brought back
she just came
Jim.
back.
Yeah, they could have brought back Jim. They could have brought back Jim and Gemma. They
Right,
could have
right,
had a
right,
little
right.
moment.
And then
It's just so much they could have
and I
done.
would something else that I was thinking about was just how, and this is something that we always talk about, how Power Rangers isn't really where it should be as far as perception and where other superhero franchises are. Where the idea of a SAG actor like
Rose McIver.
MacGyver, yes, I was about to say McGowan. Good lord, yeah,
I
Rose
do it all the
MacGyver.
time.
um, Ika Darville. Those two have gone on to do some cool stuff over here in the States. The fact that even thinking about them possibly coming back is just like so ridiculous because of the things that they've been able to do. Like, it shouldn't be that. Like, Power
Right.
Rangers should be
Right.
at a point where, like, oh yeah, I come back, because it should be up there with the other superhero stuff. So like, it's like, oh, I hate that thought
Right.
sometimes of oh my god, it would be so cool to see a Ranger back, but since they're SAG, and then also because of the perception of Power Rangers, it's probably ridiculous to think of them actually coming back. So that's where I was thinking, as far as some of the
Right.
cast members, seeing some of them back.
Right. I agree. I agree. And I mean, it's just weird. I certainly would love to have seen some of them come back and, reprise their roles. But I mean, we got Doc K, and I mean, Doc K, like, she did her thing. Olivia Tennant, she slayed, and I loved it. And just to finish up the episode, basically they fight Blaze, and Blaze kicks their asses for a bit. And then
What was that about? What was that about? Because I was like, Zoe was like, "We need you. It's Blaze." Trying to get Nate to come to battle with them and not help Dr. K with something that she was working on. But I'm like, wait a minute. Since when is Blaze that big of a deal?
Well, I'll say
And then
this.
he kicked their asses.
Well, I'll say this. In the previous episode, I don't know if you've seen those or not, but in the previous episodes, okay, good. Okay, not good, but that makes sense. So in the previous episodes, he got upgraded because he did he got a power upgrade. And also too, behind the scenes, quote unquote, the footage that they used is actually the season finale of Go Busters. So that's basically Enter in his final form, basically whooping their asses. And that part where remember when they all exploded and stuff?
Yeah.
When the Rangers, when he shot them and everybody, exploded and stuff, basically he tore their uniforms.
Oh.
Like, I mean, he shattered their visors, their suits were all broken and torn, and yeah, like he screwed them over. Like he really fucked them up. So yeah, they didn't show all of that because I mean, obviously you would have seen the Japanese people, the actors' faces, but also too, they didn't want to make it seem like Blaze was that strong.
And we got another episode.
Exactly. So it's like we didn't want to do all that. But yeah, so that's why Blaze seemed like he was so strong. But yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, "Yo, that's Blaze now. What happened?" Because I was
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, because I didn't see the episodes before, right? I just saw source code. That's what it's called. I just seen that for the purpose of this episode that we're doing. But obviously, I'm gonna go back and watch them all. But yeah, I remember seeing him being like, "Yo, that's Blaze now. Yo, he looks like he kicks some real butt."
Yeah, Blaze is like super strong now, and like he was basically giving them a run for their money, and it was just like, all right, But the way they ended him though really makes me mad because I don't know what it is with this show and arrows, but it's like an arrow cures everything. It's like hey,
I love that it went through his gut. I thought that they just showed it hanging out of his stomach. That was kind of cool, but I thought that it was at the same time kind of anticlimactic the way that he died.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
That was my issue. It was just like it was just very anticlimactic. It was like, all right, I guess. Cool. I mean, even though he just brought a can of whoop ass to them and just like beat the crap out of them. They just shoot him with an arrow, and it's like, oh, he's gone.
Right.
It's like
gone, done.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I just feel like nowadays the way they do the show is very
anticlimactic.
Yes, like I can't speak either. But yeah, like the way they do the show these days, where they make it seem like, oh, at first it seems tough, but then the second goal, like they get it, it's done, over with, bye.
Right.
And I know I don't like that. I remember the previous seasons where like RPM, for example, it really made you like question whether or not the Rangers were gonna win, or like in space, or even Lost Galaxy, like you genuinely question, oh my god, or are the Rangers gonna actually lose? Is this gonna be it? Like this is it? Like this is the end of like Earth, or even like Zeo or Turbo, like any of those other seasons where they genuinely lost their powers, and now they're trying to figure out how can we still save Earth without our powers, and these seasons these days have not given us that. I think the closest one we got was the Legacy War, but then that wasn't even like I can't say the word, but
it was just uneventful. I thought it was just a disappointment.
What?
It was just a disappointment.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like it was one of those situations where it was like they hyped us up,
so
oh my god, like bringing out so many set photos, and you know, God King Tommy was going to be there, and it was just like, oh my God, this is going to be the best thing that you've ever seen.
Like, I'm thinking
And
like fucking Marvel, like what's the last movie? Like Endgame.
Yeah.
Like fucking Endgame. And then nothing. You know, just so y'all know, Super Mega Force, you could just handle that yourself without your powers. It's just an FYI.
I mean, they really could have done all of that by themselves. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not a fan of this.
No.
Like, it just, oh gosh, I'm not doing this. I'm about to get on a tangent, and I'm about to get on a tangent.
Nope.
I'm not going to do it.
Nope.
But you know, it's just, there was just a lot of things that could have been done to make this episode better, but it was still an outstanding episode by itself.
Absolutely.
It was still a great episode.
There was something that I want to say that happened that it's been a long time coming, and that is Zoe finally did something right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, by contacting Dr. K to talk to
Nate
and help Nate with a very similar dilemma. They both unleashed a virus on a planet.
You know what? It's good that you said that. It's actually good that you said that. You know, she need to take as many wins as she can this season, because girl, she was getting L's left and right. Like, I mean, she just kept, screwing over big time. So at least this time it's like, all right, girl, like you're doing something right. You did something right.
I'm looking forward to the finale for sure. I know you saw it already, but
I mean, I can watch it again,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm also looking forward to catching up on the few episodes that I've missed after the Jason fiasco. So,
not fiasco. All right. Well, listen. I hope everyone have enjoyed this episode. I hope you all, and if you do have any other, questions, statements, or if you have any opinions on it, you can more than welcome, leave a comment, do all the things, like, subscribe, tell a friend, do all the things, and just, keep supporting us. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Brandon.
I am Lena.
I'm Will.
And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.